Hey there, it's Marty Lurie with a report from River Islands in Lathrop, where the good life can be your life. The home selection has never been better, with neighborhoods designed to fit a wide range of lifestyles. Whatever is on your list of musts, an amazing kitchen, a home gym, a private office, or a separate suite for your in-laws, there's a place here just for you. Priced from the low 600,000s to over $1 million. The town center, located by Islanders Field Ballpark, is well underway, with the Redwood Cafe opening this summer and a community amphitheater being built for events, concerts, and community get-togethers. Sutter Health, listen to this, is building medical offices, and a major grocery store will be announced soon. The town center will be a great place to enjoy the River Islands lifestyle. Then there's everything around your home: lakes, parks, and trails. The San Joaquin River and the Lakeview Club at Del Webb's 55-plus community just had its debut. Construction is moving along for the 4th K-8 charter school. Wow. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? Check it out at riverislands.com.
This day in Giant hamburger history. It's the bottom of the 7th. The score is 10-9. 1 on, 2 out, a 3-2 count. 12-year-old Darren Foster hurls a fastball in the direction of his twin brother Daniel, and with one swing of the bat, the game is over. Next stop, Nations, where both teams and families meet up for post-game Giant hamburgers and pie. Now that's what I call a win-win. Keep it real. Make it Nations.
Talking baseball, the Giants by the bay.
KNBR presents
100 left field out of here.
Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie.
It's an inside the park home run.
Here's your Giants pregame host Marty Lurie on the Sports Leader.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball on this Sunday afternoon as we get ready for the Giants and the Sacramento River Cats as this 2026 baseball season is coming right along. Well, the Cactus League is over as far as the Giants are concerned. They left Arizona yesterday after beating the Cleveland Guardians 10-7. The ball was flying out of the park yesterday. Another warm day down here in the Valley of the Sun. It was a hot spring training. Let me tell you, we've gone through a lot of these, and this one was about as warm as I remember. But the Giants win it yesterday, and they end up with a spring training record in the Cactus League. They didn't win the Cactus League as they did last year, but they end up 19-9. They lose 6 of the last 10, whatever that means. And the Dodgers, believe it or not, at 19-8, they win the Cactus League down here in Arizona. So now it's back up to the Bay Area. It's the Sacramento River Cats this afternoon. Tyler Mahle will be pitching for the Giants. He will be the 3rd starter in the season for the Giants, as manager Tony Vitello said that yesterday, that Logan Webb, of course, is going to open it up. And Webb got lit up pretty good by Kansas City the other day as he's coming back from the WBC. And this is always the fear. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it's always the fear that when pitchers go at this high, intense level in February or March and then come back and have to taper it down, and then have to ramp it up again when the season starts. You never know where it's going to be. But Webb, who had a great WBC, ended up getting hit pretty hard by Kansas City. But he will open it up on Wednesday night against the New York Yankees on Netflix. It will be the only Major League game on Wednesday, and it takes place in San Francisco, and it is going to be a big deal. Believe me, when you see what Netflix is doing to take over the Cove with all the kayaks and all that stuff, and McCovey Cove Dave will be out there with about 150 other people. Who knows how many are going to be out there in the Cove, but they're going to supply kayaks. And then there'll be some entertainment on the field. And then we'll finally get baseball between the Yankees. Not doing Tony Vitello any favors on his first game as a Major League manager, jumping from the ranks of the University of Tennessee baseball right into the major leagues. And we'll see what happens, but that'll be on Wednesday night. Logan Webb goes for the San Francisco Giants. Then, on the other hand, there's a day off on Thursday, and baseball does that just in case there's a rain out. And then on Friday, they come back again with the traditional opener, which is always great. I love it. And you talk to any baseball people, they love that traditional opener and the flyover and all the names being introduced and standing on the sidelines and the national anthem and all that goes on. It's always a very special day, especially in San Francisco. And on that one, Robbie Ray will go on Friday. And then on Saturday, we will be on Saturday. Now, there's no game on Sunday, so I know it's a strange schedule, and this may have an effect on the roster that's put together, and we'll talk about it on the show today with these couple of off days in the first 4 or 5 days of the season. But on Saturday, we will be on at noon. We'll be broadcasting from the broadcast booth. Darren Chan is nice enough to set that up for us. And on that date, Tyler Malley will be making his his San Francisco debut. And Malley, a right-hander, was terrific, I thought, in spring training. He had 4 starts down there. Now, he's going to pitch today for the Giants against the River Cats, and I'm sure they're going to want to see him throw maybe 70, 75 pitches and get him ready for Saturday. But he went 10 innings down in Arizona. Only gave up a couple of hits, no runs, and a couple of walks, and 13 strikeouts for him. So pitched very well down here, and we'll see him, of course, in Game 3. Then on the Sunday, it will be an off day before the Giants move on to San Diego during the week to continue with the schedule. Schedule in April is not that friendly for the Giants, believe me. They've got the 3 with the Yankees, of course, and then they've got some tough games coming up. They've got the Mets at home. They've got San Diego, of course. That's that next series on the road. Then the Phillies at home. Then going on a road trip to Baltimore, Cincinnati, and you know Cincinnati's never simple. And then Washington. Before coming home against the Dodgers and Miami. And Miami always gives them some trouble, too. So it's going to be an interesting April for the ball club, but it all will start on Wednesday. Now, of course, tomorrow there'll be a game at the ballpark in San Francisco against Monterey, and there'll also be a game on Tuesday against Monterey, and that'll wrap up this exhibition schedule and get you ready for baseball as we get ready for this 2026 season. A lot of things that we will talk about today will be the roster construction. And overall for the Giants, you know who's going to be playing. Now, the big question is Harrison Bader. And he had that little hamstring issue when he came back from Team Israel. He got in the games right away, and then all of a sudden there was that, I don't want to call it a tweak, tightness, who knows what they're going to call it. But any time with hamstrings, you have to be very, very careful. You just don't want a situation where he pulls the hamstring and he's out a month. But his availability will have an effect on this roster that's put together. And as I said, you are going to enjoy watching the at-bats. I really think so. And watching spring training down here, And look, I've been through a lot of them. You know that. I felt when the Giants were hitting, I wanted to see who was going to hit. I really did. Now, a lot were gone for the WBC, but they came back, and Tony Vitello got to put his lineup together. And you watched Devers, who finally broke loose against Cleveland yesterday. And I mentioned it to Woe when I talked to him after the game yesterday. Boy, he hit a shot that maybe was the hardest ball hit down here, I think, all spring to right field. It was like one hop off the wall. And he ended up getting a single out of it, but he hit the ball hard. But ended up with about 5 hits and 28 at-bats, and he's got to get going. But then you get a Rise, who's a lot of fun to watch. Where will they hit him? Will they lead off with him? Will he bat fifth? And Jung-Ho Lee had a good game. So a lot of that is going on, but there are a couple of things offensively. Encarnacion, who has no, Gerard has no options left. Luis Matos, no options left. So we'll see what the Giants do there. If Bader is not ready, it might open it up for Oliva. And he's a 30-year-old speedster. Had the second most stolen bases in the minor leagues last year. And he really had a good spring training. And yes, they hit a 3-run homer to go with the stolen bases. And if Bader's not available, Oliver, who is a right-handed hitter, they need that lefty to back up the outfield, I think, and that probably will be Will Brennan. But if Bader's not available, I think Oliver has a shot to make this ball club. Remember Darren Ford? Will and I used to call him the Bullet. And he was terrific in 2010 when they brought him up, and he played right field, but he could steal a base and had a couple of big runs scored down the stretch in 2010. This guy reminds me of that, and he gives Tony Vitello that weapon off the bench late in the game to see what goes on there. Well, that's the offensive side. Very little going on the offensive side. We can kind of predict pretty much what's going to happen there. But on the other side, and the key to baseball today, and we've said it so many times, and of course, we think about Greg Pop all the time, and Pop recovering from the bone marrow transplant. We love him and wish him well, but every time Pop and I talk about baseball, we talk about bullpens. And the Giant bullpen is still somewhat in flux. They picked up another lefty yesterday. It's Ryan Borucki from the White Sox. He played for Toronto and Pittsburgh. He's a left-hander. And that lefty side of the bullpen probably going to be Eric Miller, who can close. Matt Gage, who's a situational guy, who can go a couple of innings, and then Borucki, who will come in, if I said his name correctly, Ryan Borucki, who's going to come in, and he will be a left-handed reliever as well. So that leaves it the spot for 5 righties, which we will talk about today. All right, so that's what we got. We've got a game coming up, Giants and the Sacramento River Cats, and then it's back to Oracle tomorrow and Tuesday. And then the opener on Wednesday in 2026. The mosaic is blank. And Tony Vitello, you are the artist that's going to put it together. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. Believe me, every day will be a story. This will be a very interesting San Francisco Giants baseball season. More coming up. The great Glenn Kyper, who's going to be doing a number of games on the radio for the Giants this year. And also, of course, is with us each Sunday. We'll come up and we'll talk some ball with Glenn right after this.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Gene Bagato checked in from Bodega Bay, and he said that despite the recent inclement weather, it's still beautiful up there on the Sonoma Coast. Down at the wharf, the Tides restaurant, in addition to its great New England clam chowder and fried calamari, is proudly featuring locally caught Dungeness crab, delivered to the Tides by the great Bodega Bay fishing fleet. And the same crab is also available for purchase in the fish market, along with a great selection of Sonoma Coast wines. If you're looking for an extended getaway just across Highway 1, the fabulous Inn at the Tides with its large, comfortable rooms, all with great views, along with the popular Bayview restaurant, provides the perfect place to relax and enjoy oneself. So if you're looking for a winter escape, not far from the Bay Area, look no further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. Fans, it's great to have Rick Robin back with us. He is the Contractor of the Year in Napa for the second year in a row, and of course specializing in home projects. And what makes it special is you get it done and you remain friends with your clients afterwards, because it is never simple getting home repairs. But how do you do it?
Well, it's a pretty simple process. You call in to speak to Tammy. I come out the very next day, and if you like the estimate, we take it down to our showroom, meet our designer. She puts everything together, sends you color rendering so you know exactly what your product's going to look like, and as soon as the material's in the warehouse, we start.
There's a second part of what you're doing now, and that's home inspections. Everyone in real estate, you buy or sell a home, you need a home inspection. You're doing that, and plus, if there's work to be done, you can do it for them.
Yeah, we come out and do your home inspection that day, send you a detailed copy, and then also I put my contractor's hat on and write you a detailed estimate of what the work will cost.
Boy, I love it. Rick Robin, R-O-B-B-E-N. Rick, how does someone get in touch with you?
You call Tammy at 707-332-7575, 7 days a week.
Marty Lurie here with the manager of the Giants, Tony Vitello. Tony, spring training, when you started to where we are now, what a difference, I'll say 6 weeks makes. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone by fast, but you reflect on a lot of different things that have occurred. The one thing about any sport, you want to be a little more wise to things, and you want to improve in some things the next day. And I do think we have stacked days of improvement on top of each other, whether it's for the players or just a new coaching staff getting to know each other, or more personal to me is just, learning and feeling, a sense of comfort each day that's a little more and more.
So what's your message to the fans as we go into this season?
Maintain that loyalty and that energy that you've had all along. It's a fan base that's talked about, obviously, on the West Coast, but I'm from the Midwest, and then I worked on the East Coast. It's talked about everywhere. So I do think there's no better day than opening day in baseball, because it's a fresh start. You've got a blank canvas that you can paint, and the players are going to be leading the charge. The coaches have something to do with it. You media members have something to do with it, but the fans probably contribute as much as anybody after the guys that are actually between the lines.
All right. I appreciate you being on each weekend, and I'll see you up in San Francisco.
You bet, Marty. I appreciate it, and I'll wait for my paycheck for being on every week.
You get dinner at Original Joe's.
That's right. I appreciate that as much as anything.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Orange and Black family, the godfather of Giants baseball, now continues. This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
I like Tony Vitello. I really do. He's been a pleasure to work with, and he's going to be a story every day. But here's a guy, Glenn Kyper, who I spent a lot of time with in spring training. He's been part of our show for a couple of years. And, Glenn, how are you?
I'm great, Marty. How are you?
I'm doing well, and opening day is coming up, and you've been through it so many times, and, of course, with the family and everything else. What does opening day mean to you?
You know what? Every year it seems like, you look forward to it just as much or even more than the year before. And I think that's just a baseball thing. But there's something about opening day. You should feel positive. And I think Giants fans in general do feel positive this year. But, man, opening day is such a cool day. And, this year, Marty, if you kind of think about it, the Giants really have two home openers, right? The one Wednesday, which is at 5 o'clock, the only game on the schedule that day. And then kind of the normal home opener on Friday, which is a day game. And so I'm kind of looking at it like it's really two home openers, which is pretty exciting. And then the fact that it's the Yankees, makes it even better. So it's going to be a great weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am. Look, you got to spend time down here in Arizona. You did a number of games with John and Dwayne and all those guys and Joe Rizzo and everything. You got a good look at the ball club, and you got a good look at the manager. And the fans up in San Francisco really haven't seen Tony Vitello in action yet. What if someone said, Glenn, what should we expect? What would you tell them?
Yeah, boy, that's a good question, Marty. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could describe the new manager. He's very smart. You can tell he's a sharp guy. I found him to be maybe at times, even though he's talkative and he's somewhat open, but maybe at times, Marty, in his own way, a little bit guarded. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're a manager. The energy is there, and I think it rubbed off on the players some, which is good. A lot of people are thinking, well, is it this, college energy coach thing? No, I wouldn't say it's that. He likes to be involved. He was somewhat involved in the drills more so than maybe other managers that we've seen. That doesn't mean he's, running around grabbing Matt Chapman's glove and putting it on and fielding ground balls. It's not like that, but he is pretty involved. And he's moving around, field, backfield, batting cage, the main field. We saw him hustle around a lot. And I think the players seem to enjoy him. I think they appreciate his involvement. And I think that's one thing that the Giants were hoping for. It's sort of we're all in this together. Let's get this thing headed in the right direction. Marty, you and I have talked about this many times, and they feel like Tony and his energy and his commitment and not being afraid to get right in there with the players, I think they feel like that is going to be successful. But, I would say, those are some of the things that I noticed in spring training. All
right, that's a good one. Now, there's so many columns that come out now about predicting what's going to happen in the season. I was thinking about it, and I was going to throw the question to you. If all goes right for the Giants, what has to go right for this team to do well? What would your answer be on that one?
Well, I think, listen, you always want to compare them to the Dodgers, and I think you do that with any team in the National League West. I don't know if that's the best way to look at it. Dodgers are a special team. We know that. But I do think that if they tighten it up defensively, I like their rotation actually a little bit more than other people. The bullpen's a question mark. I think they will be a better offensive team. I would say, Marty, if they can be a better defensive team and do those small things that it sounds like they spent a lot of time on in spring training. We saw it, but you hear that a lot, right? They worked on fundamentals in spring training. Well, let's find out if this Giants team really has indeed did that and improved in that area. Because I think they need to do all those small things if they are going to win. They're a talented team. I like their lineup. I think the lineup is intriguing to me. I think they will score enough runs, but it's those little things. Catch the ball. Fundamentally, they have to be better. They weren't great fundamentally last year. It's those little things, Marty, which really add up over the course of a long season. So I would watch that closely. Can you manufacture a run when you need it? Can you catch the ball, especially in the outfield when you have to? And then I think you have a chance to be a pretty good team. I do.
Today, the fans in Northern California get to see Tyler Mahle for the first time, and of course, you've seen him on TV. If he's healthy, he's very good. What's your take on Tyler Mahle? We get him today, and then we get him next Saturday, when we'll be on before the game next Saturday.
Well, I think you said it best, Marty. If he stays healthy, he's pretty good. And when Bruce Bochy talked about him in the dugout, and you may have been there that day, but
yeah, I was there. Yeah,
Boch had him, for 2 years in Texas, and he really likes him a lot. He was really, really good last year till he got hurt, and he was pitching for Bochy with the Rangers. So if Bruce Bochy says, yeah, you know what, I like this kid a lot, he just needs to stay out there. If he stays out there, he'll be very, very good. You know what? If he says that to me, then I'm good with it. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how Mahle does, because the stuff is there. We saw it in spring training, Marty. There were some games where he struck out a lot of guys. So I think it's going to be interesting, but he's one of the reasons why, as I said just a little bit ago, Marty, I think that this rotation is I think it's going to be a little bit better than most people think. But listen, he's going to slide in the third spot, and if Bruce Bochy likes him, then I like him. That's about as simple as I can get.
Yeah, and he's a guy who'll throw 92, 93, and then come back with 84, 83, 85, and he is a pitcher. And that's the one thing about him. This is not a guy who's going to come out there throwing the Robbie Ray and grunting and throwing 97. He's a pitcher, so I like what I see so far with him. He's quiet, but we'll get to see him today, and we'll get to see him, of course, next Saturday when we go on the air, too. The ball club is a ball club that had a couple of good young players that I think you and I should touch on. One is this Jared Oliva. I always want to call him Oliva. It's Oliva, like Olive Garden. 30 years old. He can fly. He's got a shot to make this club if Bader is not healthy. What do you think of him? And also the Barney Nugent Award winner, Victor Barracoto, who from the first hit I saw, that first February, that Cub game, when he hit the ball to right field, I said, this guy's bat makes a different sound. So let's talk about those two.
Well, I think Barracoto, he had a terrific spring. He was fun to watch. And we had heard some about him in the minor leagues the last couple of years. I don't think he ever had a chance to make the team here, no matter how good his spring was. But you do have a chance to open some eyes, and he certainly did that. And he looks like he can hit, right? And plays outfield, plays first base, needs a little more seasoning. I guess he'll probably be in AAA. That would be my guess, AA or AAA. But if nothing else, he put himself in the high prospect, close to the big leagues category. Which once you get in that category, you're a phone call away. He was fun to watch, I thought. And you learned something about him. You've heard about this kid. You've read about him in the minor leagues. Well, now we got to see him firsthand, and he was pretty impressive. And Oliva, to me, is very interesting, Marty, because he's really not a young player. He's 30 years old. He's been in the big leagues a couple times, but it's been a while. But on my YouTube show, I said the other night, Marty, I think maybe he has a legitimate chance to make this club. He's still there. Yeah. He's a non-roster invitee. But he does something. He does two things that are well above average in the big leagues, Marty. He catches the ball in center field. You can play all three outfield positions, and he's well above average defensively. That's a big deal for this team. And he is a major league stolen base guy. He can swipe a lot of bags. He did it in the minor leagues. We've seen it down there in Arizona. That's a legitimate thing. So how much can those two things that he has, those two assets, how much can they help you coming off the bench? I think that's the decision, the Giants have to make. And how much will he hit? Is he a guy you could put up there in extra innings? Even though I don't know how many guys in that Giants lineup are actually going to be pinch hit for. But the point is he can do some things that could really help at the big league level. I'm very, very curious, Marty, to see, what happens with this outfield situation and, what are the two guys they're going to keep? I don't know. I don't really have a strong feeling. Is Matos there for sure? Is Encarnacion? Is Oliva a legitimate shot? Obviously, Oliva has a legitimate shot. Otherwise, he still wouldn't be with the big league team. I like him, Marty. I think he could help you off the bench. I really do.
No, I agree, and we'll find out more, obviously, the next day or two. Well, great having you on. We'll look forward to you doing games this year, and we'll talk to you next Sunday, Glenn. Thank you.
Sure. All right, Marty. Have a good one, buddy. See you, man.
All right, be well. All right, that is Glenn Kyper. All right, Bruce Jenkins next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. They've been serving customers and fans in the Bay Area for more than 90 years. Wow. Right now, through April 6th, there's an amazing sale in the Stressless Gallery at Georgie Brothers. You can save $500 on all Stressless wing-style chair and ottoman sets in Paloma and Valero leathers. It's the biggest savings on this chair all year. There's also a tremendous savings on 3 styles of sofas. Ask about Oslo, Fiona, and Flora styles. Me, I personally own Stressless furniture, and I tell you, it's the most comfortable seat in my house. Don't forget to look at the San Francisco Giants memorabilia display as well. It's really incredible. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Or even better, visit their 50,000 square foot showroom in South San Francisco.
I can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Marty Lurie here with the manager of the Giants, Tony Vitello. Anticipation of the rotation and just the team you put out there. How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I mean, it's a group that's worked hard, so it's, a deal where confidence doesn't just happen. It's got to be somewhat earned, and, I think the guys have put in the work during spring training. The front office has worked hard to make sure there's blind spots that are covered or it's a well-balanced lineup and roster, and I'll leave it up to you guys to decide, where our roster stacks up to others, whether it's the best on paper or it's middle of the pack or it's the worst, which I think we know that's not the case. But just to prove my point, that it's pretty hard to prove to begin with. And also, it's irrelevant when the game starts. It's all about whoever plays well on that day or who plays better. And I think we got a team that's capable of competing at a very high level. And it's up to all of our jobs to come to the park and be better that given day.
Well, have you decided on a closer? I
think that's a fair question. I think the thing we take confidence in is there's guys who have done it. I've got confidence in a couple guys that have not done it based off how they've thrown the ball here. But, Walker and Miller are, two guys just off the cuff that have stood out there in very highly intense situations and gotten the job done. So I feel good that we have some options. And I think that's what it'll be, and it'll evolve into a situation where maybe we lean on one guy the most. But I think the key is for us to have confidence in matchups and just guys in general, or a group of guys who can get the job done.
All right. Appreciate you being on each weekend, and I'll see you up in San Francisco.
You bet, Marty. I appreciate it, and I'll wait for my paycheck for being on every week.
You get dinner at Original Joe's.
That's right. I appreciate that as much as anything.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Appreciate you.
Look through the window of the Original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Lurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for Giants baseball today. Opening day coming up Wednesday, and then the traditional opener on Friday. Bruce Jenkins, how are you today?
Doing well, Marty. What's going on?
Well, we got baseball in the Bay Area coming back, and I was thinking about opening day. And do you remember your first opening day that you went to and what it was like and what opening day is, what it means to you?
Well, I remember, quite a few of them when you cover teams as I did for many, many years. You're always there for that. I mean, they kind of, one that the first game at Packville Park or whatever they called it then, when Kevin Elster hit 3 home runs, it stands out in a very bizarre way. It lets you know that what you're seeing isn't necessarily what you take home with and grouse about and give up the season on, but. They all kind of blend together in majesty for me. I prefer it to be during the day, which will be Friday for the Giants. It's a little bit strange. Netflix has commandeered this opening week, and we'll see how that goes. But, I'm not complaining about anything.
No, we're glad to have it. Bruce, I watched spring training down here, again, 19-9, whatever it was, but they have a good attitude. I don't know if it came across through the shows, through watching them, but what's your take on the ball club and the new manager especially?
Well, there's just so much energy there. You get it, naturally from a guy like Adames, and Bruce Vitello himself. Jung-Hoo Lee has tremendous energy. Harrison Bader is an all-out energy guy. If Drew Gilbert makes the team, and it's just all the way down. I think the fact that there were so many really good-looking players in camp. You can just go down the line. They're not even going to be here at the start. Eldridge and Barracoto, Jesus Rodriguez, Dakota Jordan, and the kid shortstops. And I think everybody was stoked about that. Somebody like Adames, he knows he's not going to lose his job to, young Gonzalez or Hernandez. But the team, there's a real. You can look at the future in this team, and geez, I'm going to be following like 10 guys in the minors, where before it might have been, well, how's Luciano doing? I mean, but yeah. And I just think and Vitello exudes that kind of energy, and that's not going to disappear if they start out 4-10. This is what he does. It's at the heart of his presence out there is just full on belief and we're going to do this, and he means it, and guys respond to it. So I do think I think that's a really exciting part of this team, and I don't think it's going to dissipate.
Well, they do get 10 of the first 13 at home, and I think that does, even though they're tough games, I think that does help them to some degree. But let's talk a little bit about the West. Bruce, for years you did those columns just before the season would start. You'd break down the teams. It was great to read it and have it. Maybe you could give us a little taste of what you think the West could look like this year.
Well, I'm not going to be too radical and say the Dodgers are done, but I think I like what Greg Johnson said. The Dodgers are good for baseball. I like Manny Machado said. It's great to have a kingpin like that you can shoot for, and the Giants have always beaten these Dodger teams over the years. Not in the end, but consistently over the years they would beat the Dodgers. They're not unbeatable, and I think that's the attitude I think the Giants in particular are going to have. The Dodgers are a little bit vulnerable. I mean, Snell is out. Glasgow could easily go down. Sasaki could easily go down. So they're kind of down to Ohtani and Yamamoto as far as who is going to be in the rotation all the time, or at least that you think so. And who knows? Teoscar Hernandez and Kike Hernandez. He's a good ball player, but she's not the end of the world. Freeman and Betts are a year older, and I just don't think I don't see the Dodgers just like crushing everybody. Second place to me is a toss-up between the Giants and San Diego. I kind of need to see how it looks on the field. I'd probably lean towards San Diego. I really like Tatis and Machado. Ramon Laureano came on strong. Jackson Merrill. Bogarts, Cronenworth, and they've got some pitching with King and Pivetta at the top, and they've got a huge difference maker in Mason Miller, which the Giants don't have, and most teams don't have anything close to Mason Miller. This talk about the game's over. It's over, right down to the WBC. So I'd give them a slight edge, but I don't disparage the Giants at all. I think they have a little edge over Arizona. Arizona's got some good players too. I don't think they have an overwhelming rotation. They've got Arenado, but he's not the Arenado of old. It's Alec Thomas and Perdomo. Carroll is the gem of that team. Good club, but again, not overwhelming. And Colorado, as long as Lorenzen isn't pitching, you're okay.
Really? Oh boy. Well, it's 52 games against the West, so I have to. Those are important games to win. But we'll see. This Kyle Tucker for me is a big deal for the Dodgers.
Sure.
To see what he does, and if he has that big MVP kind of season, it'll mean a lot. If he does what he did last year, Dodgers become a little more vulnerable with age, and I think that's the key for me. Bruce, you wrote a story today about your buddy Scott Osler, who's retiring from the Chronicle. It seems like every week we have a story. You and I talk about something like this, but you wrote a beautiful story about Scott in your column today. Talk about Scott Osler.
Well, we're both LA guys who started out working down there, and I started reading Scott when he was covering the Lakers and the Dodgers in the late 70s. I'm going, man, this guy is really bright. He'd bring sort of a columnist touch and the Osler humor into game stories, which is not a crime, and it really livens up the piece. You got to make sure you're funny. If you try to be funny and you bomb, there's nothing worse. It's like a stand-up comedian in a silent club. But Osler never had that problem. And then when he got the column in 1981, I started saving the columns as I was just so blown away by how good they were. This guy, who is this guy? He came from Lompoc, wherever the heck that is. But the Times spotted him, and so 1981. That's 46 years he wrote a column, and they were all good to me. I just loved his touch that he brought. It's nobody like him, Marty. Nobody except for Jim Murray, who goes a long way back and died in the 90s, no columnist in the country has been able to sustain a humor in a sports column like Scott. You know, I mean, Rick Riley was really good, and anytime Dave Barry wrote about sports, of course, you know, that was a lock. But Scott was like every day for 46 years. I mean, and it's just scary to think of the body of work he put out there and the quality. And it's been devastating news. Ann Killian and Susan Slusser are just really, really crushed to see him go. Susan was on the radio the other day. I thought she might break into tears. She was so effusive in her praise of Scott, and that's how we all feel about him. You know, and of course he's a terrific guy, extremely humble and really low key. I mean, you can tell him he loved that line. You start laughing, and he's not even breaking a smile. He's very deadpan, but which is great. He's not a guy who just goes into hysterics over his own joke. You know. It's just the whole package is unmatched. He's unmatched. He's one of a kind. He's one of the all-time greats, and I was just happy when he came to the Chronicle. I thought, is that actually going to happen? Because you like to be on an all-star team. You don't want to be the one columnist, you know, whatever. And you want guys like Tim Kuhn and Ratto and Osler to come in. And when he came in, our reputation and our quality just jumped a million miles up. And you know, he's even older. No, I didn't think anybody was older than I am. He's got a year on me, but who would know? I mean, his most recent columns are great. So whatever he does, he'll keep his hand in. He'll write something, you know, as long as he can. So I'd be anxious to see what that's going to be.
Yeah, well, I'll say, as Mickey Mantle said after Casey Stengel testified at the Congress, I agree with everything that Casey said, and I agree with everything that you said. So believe me,
I hope I made more sense than Casey.
Yeah, you said it very well, and I never missed one of his columns. So no. I'm glad he's going to continue somewhere, and I'm glad to have you on. Bruce, have a good week. We've got opening day and so much next weekend to talk about. So be well. Thanks, Bruce.
Exciting. Okay, thanks a lot, Marty.
Okay. Next up, he's back writing in the Bay Area. Evan Webeck is back, and he covers the Giants for the New York Post, believe it or not. Where do you hear this story? Coming up next, right here in the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader. Giants fans, there's no better way to set the game day table than talking baseball with Marty Lurie. Marty keeps rolling on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, Tuesday night, Mardi Gras at Original Joe's in San Francisco. It is completely sold out. So that is Tuesday night. We'll see everybody up in San Francisco at Original Joe's. Joining us now is Evan Webeck, and of course he's covered baseball here in the Bay Area for a while, but this year he's doing it a little differently. Evan, it's great to have you. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Marty, hey, it's great to be back on the air. It was great to see you down in Arizona, and it's great to be back in San Francisco and breathing the sea air again here a couple miles from the Pacific Ocean. I don't think I need to see any more grasshoppers for the rest of my life based on the infestation down there in Arizona. But yeah,
neither does Susan Slesser doesn't either. That was the one.
I think they tormented all of us.
Yeah. So tell us what's up with you. Come on.
Yeah, man. No, it's great. Come back covering the Giants and actually really all Bay Area sports right now. I mean, the big focus on the Warriors as they try to, close out, the regular season here. They're all banged up. But yeah, the New York Post is, a lot of people have probably heard. Maybe they haven't. A lot of people I've talked to haven't. So maybe you haven't. But yeah, launching out here in California about, I think just before pitchers and catchers reported, maybe 2 weeks before, so like end of January or so, is the hard launch out in Los Angeles. Built a big, incredible staff out there, a lot of talented folks. I personally, covering the NL West the past few years, I got to know and also went to school with Jack Harris, who used to cover the team for the LA Times. He's our Dodgers beat writer. Dylan Hernandez is also covering the Dodgers for us. So a lot of great baseball names, and they brought me on board to really be the first Bay Area guy. So it's been fun. I've been able to go cover Macklin Celebrini and the hype train down there in San Jose. Probably the most exciting thing happening in Bay Area sports right now. And been out. I always love being out at Chase Center and getting a chance to watch Steph up close. Although unfortunately we haven't had a chance to do that too much lately, and just got back from a week in Arizona getting to know Tony Vitello and this Giants squad. And man, I've been listening to the show today. Everybody's mentioned the word energy, and I had the exact same experience talking to the whole clubhouse, trying to figure out, what's this been like, 6 weeks here in this guy's first major league spring training ever. How has he, acquitted himself? And I think every single person I talked to mentioned the word energy, and that was definitely evident in camp this year.
Well, it's great to have Evan Webeck back with us. Now the New York Post, so just subscribe online, and then you can read Evan, who's going to cover all of Bay Area sports, especially the Giants. I really love your take on the Giants. We did this with a couple of years behind us with you, and it was always really a pleasure. All right, let's talk Giants a little bit. Any players jump out at you? I want to mention Matt Chapman because I haven't mentioned him today. He's had a terrific spring, not striking out as much, cutting down the swing a little bit. Let's talk about your impressions of the ball club, specifically how they resolved the Matos Concepcion business and this bullpen. They got a new guy all of a sudden. Let's get your take on the Giants.
Yeah, sure. I mean, honestly, I was a little bit skeptical coming into this based on the offseason and the moves. It was I think a lot of fans felt a little underwhelmed, and I think there was reason for that based on some of the money spent by other teams out there and the way the Giants decided to fill their holes. But having spent a week down there, I've been a little bit convinced. It's only spring training, but seeing this lineup up close, I don't think that was ever a question mark, but I think it just kind of solidified the trust in my I guess opinion that this is, to me, undoubted. I've been down here since 2020 or so, Gabe era on, and it's easily the most intimidating, formidable group of hitters that I've seen in the Giants in a long time. And it's not just the middle of the order, but it's deep. It's a long lineup. I think the additions of Bader and Arias really lengthen the lineup in a way to give it that kind of, the veteran, not guys who are, on the wrong side of the aging curve, and not young guys either, but right there. who can kind of just be really nice supplementary players. And Bader, obviously adding him in center changes a lot of things for a team that had the worst outfield defense in baseball last year. So to me, the big questions are two things. It's is the defensive alignment and can they improve defensively? There's going to be, a few guys who are playing either out of position or trying to make big improvements over last year, meaning, Jung-Hoo Lee moving over to right. And he also was away for a long time in the World Baseball Classic and wasn't playing right field that whole time. He was playing center still. And Elliot Ramos, obviously, he's, has to improve in left. I think everybody knows that. Him, first and foremost. Tony Vitello described him as a man on a mission. He sought out their outfield coach as well as Jay Stingler, the new bench coach, and somebody Tony is goes way back with to try to improve this offseason. But then you also have Arias at second base, a position that he hasn't played in a couple years, and not by choice. That's where he wants to play. He's actually incredibly determined. That's why he signed in San Francisco. I asked him because he played a little bit of first still for Team Venezuela in the WBC, where his bat also was quite live. A little bit more power than I think we were expecting. But I asked him, do you think you're ready to handle second after, doing a little bit of first? And he said, yeah, I only played first for Team Venezuela. For the San Francisco Giants, I'm a second baseman. And, Tony has said, he's a very determined guy. So it's really, he wants to do it. He's determined to prove it. Obviously, they have Ron Washington, who's a guy, who's turned a lot of, and made, kind of renowned for his work defensively. But then the pitching too, the depth, Malley and Hauser they got short-term contracts for a reason, right? There's some question marks in terms of just their track record and if they're able to really, hold down a rotation for 30 starts a season. I think between the two of them, there's only been one season of 30 starts. But they've looked good in spring training. Robbie Ray is looking more like a co-ace than a number two, frankly. He seems really locked in, so I think that's promising for the rotation. And I had to make my predictions for our big baseball preview issue, and I said, as long as if the pitching holds up, they're either going to collapse in a heap of pitching problems, or I think they're going to make the playoffs. So I said 88 and 74. I think it's the second place finish in the NL West. I'm a little bit down on the Padres and the D-backs, and I think there's an opening there for the taking.
Boy, good analysis. Evan Webeck with us. He writes now for the New York Post. You could follow him online. Matos and Encarnacion. That's been wherever you go in Arizona, that seems to be the question every day. Do you have an opinion on that one?
It's tough. I think they both looked good this spring and made their case. I think they would have honestly liked to see, Bryce Eldridge make the roster out of spring training. I think he faded a little bit toward the end, and that opens up a spot for at least one or two of them. It's a little bit tough, righty heavy on the bench right now. I think the better roster fits aren't necessarily the better just fits in terms of optionality, I suppose. Obviously Encarnacion and Matos are both out of options. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to, with this off day and the schedule, just try to maybe finagle both of them onto the roster. Maybe Drew Gilbert and Will Brennan are a little bit more optionable, although they're both lefties and better defenders, and I think fit the roster a little bit better. Same with Jared Oliva, especially if Bader's not ready to go. Oliva is such a he's 30 years old and he hasn't played in the majors for so long, but he's got such a singular skill set in terms of being able to come off the bench and add that speed and base running threat that I think is really exciting. And I mean, read little into spring training at bats, but it didn't look terrible out there, right? I saw a home run in that last Cactus League game. Looked pretty good. But they've got a lot of. I think that's the big takeaway this spring is that they were really impressed by their depth and the options and kind of how difficult some of these end of the spring roster decisions have been. And I think that's probably, a reason for optimism.
All right. Well, I agree with you. Defense is the key, especially in the big ballpark where they play, and pitching and defense win. So that's been the defense, I think, is going to be better. Pitching is still, for me, a little bit shaky in that bullpen until it settles in. So we'll have to see where it goes with that. But great having you on. Looking forward to having you on as a regular with us. And congratulations. I'm glad you're back with the Post. And we'll see you next week.
Great to be back, Marty.
All right, thanks, Ev. That is Evan Webeck. He writes now for the New York Post Online, and he's been covering a lot of Bay Area sports. Birdsong, I should mention him today. Hayden Birdsong had Tommy John surgery. Of course, that was one of the big stories of the spring. Lucchese was let go today. Wilmer Flores signed in the Mexican League, where he's going to continue hitting, and believe me, he's going to be back somewhere before the season is over. So we'll see how this bullpen shakes out as well. But it's time to continue on with our Giants warm-up and bring in Anthony Garcia. Anthony, the boys are back in the Bay Area. We've got baseball this week. You're back in action at Oracle. How you feeling today?
I'm so unbelievably excited, Marty. I'm so excited. Marty, I was telling my friends, I feel like Persephone in Greek mythology, where fall and winter come, and I'm hanging out with Hades in the underworld, and then spring and summer come. And we had the solstice this weekend. Baseball is back, and I'm just unbelievably excited. I'm going to eat all the pomegranate seeds like Persephone and the sunflower seeds and the pumpkin seeds. I'm eating nothing but seeds, and I'm watching baseball all spring and all summer, and hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully into the fall.
All right. Can you pitch?
I didn't pitch in Little League. I played first base and not very well, although I will tell Tony Vitello and Buster Posey, if you're listening, don't get ready for the game at 5 o'clock. But if someone in the Giants organization is listening, I bring my first baseman mitt to work every day just in case we need someone to fill in. I've got my first baseman mitt ready. I wear a large in a Giants uniform. I will wear any number.
All right. Well, first base, unfortunately, I think they have that covered. But if you can come out of the bullpen, they want you. And that's what I've seen down here. We have fun down here. And I make the joke that you could go into any restaurant down here and have dinner, and the first thing the waiter will say to you, he's never seen you before, but he knows that you're connected somehow with Giants baseball. He'll say, "How's the bullpen?" And that's been the big question.
That is an actual question, yeah.
That is the question, and I'm anxious to see how they finally put it together. And over these next 3 days, and you'll be out there a lot, of course, to see it, we'll see how they finally put it together. But for me, that's the big question.
I would agree. I think that's a big question as well. It's actually something I'm going to talk about in the show. But I think that was one of the spring training starts, and you hope to get some unanswered questions. We got a question about Bryce. Is he going to make the team? He didn't. The question for me was Hayden Birdsong. How is he going to perform in the spring? Unfortunately, blows out his elbow. He's going to need Tommy John. So we got the answer to that question, as sad and as unfortunate as that was. But another big question was the bullpen, and I don't really think we got any answers in the spring.
Well, apparently, reading between the lines, and with Tony we had on today, and he was nice enough to spend a few minutes with me each Saturday before the Sunday show. It looks like Walker is going to get the bulk of the action as the closer. It looks like that's where they're going. But Eric Miller is available. If Walker has trouble, Eric Miller is available. And after that, it's a real question as to how they're going to set everyone up. They picked up the new lefty, this Ryan Borucki, who's a sort of a specialist, and they've got Matt Gage from the left side. The right side, though, is interesting. You may see a couple of kids get into this bullpen from the right side, and one could be Wynn, who's got that 99-mile-an-hour sinker. He's a possibility. Seymour is a possibility. Bivens is still here.
Caleb Killian is turning a lot of, Buto. Caleb Killian is turning a lot of heads,
Yeah, he was terrific down here. So it's going to be fascinating for me to see what Buster does over the next few days. But I think someone brought it up today. Maybe it was Glenn. They could do a little finagling with the rotation because they have the off days.
Yeah.
And maybe get an extra guy onto this roster. My take on the other, I'll just throw it out there since we have to deal with it this week on Encarnacion and Matos. If I had to pick who, I would take Encarnacion. He's the threat off the bench.
Yep.
If a pitcher makes a mistake, he can knock it out. Where Matos, good bat-to-ball guy, but I'm not sure where his ceiling is. if they had to make a choice, I'd go with the big right-handed hitter. So we'll see where it goes. I'm generally wrong, so that's what happens.
Well, you know what? I agree with you. I would go with Encarnacion over Matos as well. So, Marty, I hope that you can take some solace in the fact that at the very least that if you're wrong, we're wrong together. Marty and Anthony, we'll be wrong together.
That makes me feel better. I'm glad to be on with you. Look, have a great show today.
I appreciate it.
I'll see you out there on Wednesday, and it will be a story every single day. The manager's a lot of fun, and it's going to be fun to see how he handles everything. So enjoy today, and I'll see you Wednesday.
I appreciate that. A pleasure to follow you, Marty. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you at the ballpark. And welcome in Giants warm-up. We are getting you ready for Giants and River Cats, the first of 3 exhibition games for the Giants before they start the season for real. Wednesday night, live around the world on Netflix. Yankees and Giants at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. But first, it's the first of 3 exhibition games. First pitch, 5:07 p.m. tonight. It's Anthony Garcia, a.k.a. Sports Anthony, on the Sports Leader, taking you to 4:50 p.m. You know the drill. Join the conversation. Call or text. Here's the phone number, 415-808-KNBR. That's 415-808-5627. We are also live and in living color on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? All you got to do, open up your YouTube app. It comes with the phone. You don't even need to download it. It comes with the phone. Go to that search bar, hit 4 letters, KNBR, join the conversation. I am but a co-host. You guys are all my co-hosts, so please join the show. The man behind the glass would be Rafael OK Corral. He's running the board for me, co-producer extraordinaire. Rafael, say hi to the people.
Hey, what's up? And it's also Rafael Golden Corral if you want to get fancy.
You will go from OK to Golden. All right, I'm with that. Spring has sprung, Ref. Spring has sprung. We had the solstice. That's when the sun passes over the equator. So I'm excited. I'm sprung. I'm excited for Giants baseball, and that means we get a little T-Pain to start us off with segment number 1.
Hey, what's up? And it's also Rafael Golden Corral.
I'm sprung. I'm excited. I'm ready for Giants baseball. What are you excited about? Call me. Let's talk. Call or text 415-808-KNBR. Here's the number one thing I'm excited about. And we do this thing in sports media, in sports journalism. We could let the beat come in. Yeah, I think we could let the beat come in. We do a thing where we ignore the obvious. Sometimes in sports, we ignore the obvious because it's not as juicy, it's not as entertaining, it's not as fun, or it's not as sexy. Like here's all of the stories that we had from the Giants in spring training, right? There were the Tony V, Tennessee comments. That was a big deal for a while. We had Carson Whisenhunt's velocity. We were talking about that. Of course, we talked about Bryce Eldridge and Victor Barracoto. But there's one obvious thing that I feel like no one's talking about or is making a big deal of, and we need to make a big deal out of it. Because it's obvious, it's staring us right in the face. He's the man on my shirt. If you're watching on YouTube, this is for you. Garita, Rafael Devers. We're getting 162 games, a full slate of Rafael Devers wearing the orange and black in 2026. I'm excited. I'm excited for a full season of Rafael Devers. It's not good radio, but I'm going to do it anyway, which is a great thing to preface before I start doing radio. Here's the stats. I'm going to read numbers at you. Here are the stats. Weird thing last year with Devers, because the Red Sox had played more games than the Giants when he got traded, so he played 163 games last season. 252 average. Ideally, you want to get that up. 851 OPS. That's very good. That's on base plus slugging. 851 is pretty good. Anything over 800 is ideal. 34 home runs. 109 RBI. There hasn't been a Giant that's gone 3,100 since His Highness Barry Lamar Bonds in 2004. It's been 22 seasons since a Giant player has gone 3,100. 112 walks, that's good. 153 hits, that's good. 99 runs, that's good. 99 problems and a run is all of them because Rafael Devers had 99 runs last season. A 4.0 WAR. WAR is one of those nerdy sabermetric analytics stats that I don't even totally understand. But here's the only thing you need to know. When you're looking at WAR, you want it to look like a GPA. So if it looks like a GPA or higher, that's good. 4.0 WAR is good. You got someone in the ones or the twos, it's like, ooh, they're going to community college. That person not very bright. But 4.0, Rafael Devers is going to an Ivy League school with that WAR GPA. You want your ERA to look like gas prices, and you want your WAR to look like a GPA. So I'm excited. A full 162 games of Rafael Devers in the orange and black. There is not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence that last year the Giants took off. Remember when the Giants took off in late August, early September? They went on that run to get back into the playoff hunt. When they went 11-1, it is not a coincidence that Rafael Devers got hot and Willy Adames got hot at the same time. And that's what this offense is going to do. That's what this offense has the potential to do in 2026 with 162 games of Rafael Devers. Here's how good he was last year. If you take his Red Sox and Giants numbers and combine them, he would have led the team in home runs, RBI, on base, slugging, doubles, runs, total bases, walks, OPS. He would have by far been our MVP last year in a full season. He would have been second in hits and WAR. And he's only 29, and he had an off year last year. The 2026 Giants are going to go with Rafael Devers. And I'm very excited that one of the best hitters and one of the best left-handed hitters in all of baseball is on our team for 162 games. What are you excited about? Call me. Let's talk. We got one right now. Rick from Hayward. Welcome to Giants Warm-Up. Rick from Hayward. How you doing this fine Sunday?
I am excited. I'm not going to deny that. Every baseball season I get excited for the beginning of the year. I've been going a long time, longer than I want to admit. My first opening day was 1968.
Oh, so you're a spring chicken. You're a spring chicken.
I'm not as old as
Rick from Hayward.
Yeah, I'm not as old as a lot of these old Giants fans that say they went to the first game. Well, unfortunately, I worked by Seal Stadium, but I didn't go to Seal Stadium. So,
Rick, what are you?
Yeah,
what are you?
I'm excited.
What are you excited about?
Oh, go ahead.
No, what are you excited about, Rick?
The potential of the fact that the team is going to actually have a guy who can put the ball in play consistently for base hits. However, after doing my deep dive on the NL, I see six teams with better rosters than the Giants, and I'm talking about the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Padres.
Yep, those seem to be the six.
Yeah, and a lot of people are down on the Padres, but after doing my deep dive on them, we don't have a lineup like they have. I don't know where people are getting off. We don't have a Ramon Laureano, and Ramon Laureano is really dang good. I mean, this guy is good. We don't have a Merle Kelly. We don't have a Fernando Tatis in the outfield. Now, what you're talking about with Devers, and I agree with Devers, but he can't strike out 192 times like he did last year. We have 5 guys on our lineup that struck out 30% of the time. We can't have that this year.
I agree.
That's the Achilles. Well, that's one of the Achilles heels.
Yeah,
the other one is.
I completely agree. I know there was a series last year. It was a 6-game series. I remember the Pirates were one of the teams. I forget the other one. But the Giants' runners in scoring position numbers were not good. They were something like 2 for 21 or 1 for 19. They got swept by the Pirates, and the Pirates were a team that finished sub 500. So I agree, Rick from Hayward. They have to put the bat on the ball. And they have guys that when they do, good things happen. Willie Adames hit 30 home runs last year. Elliot Ramos has back-to-back 20 home run years. We know what Matt Chapman can do with the bat. That's why Bryce Eldridge got sent down. Had a hard time putting the ball in play. But, Rick, you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you brought up the teams in front of them because I'm going to get into that later on in the show. Rick from Hayward, thank you for calling. Call back anytime. But coming up next, Giants beat writer Justice De Los Santos joins the show. He's going to tell you the one thing Giants fans need to know about the 2026 season. It's Anthony Garcia, a.k.a. Sports Anthony, on the Sports Leader.
KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Just a quick note about the rooftop restaurant at the Via Hotel, the Hotel Via across the street from the park. They do a wide variety of events on the rooftop, from weddings and birthdays to corporate retreats and special events, holiday events, and any other special occasion you can think of. With stunning 360 views of the skyline, Bay Bridge, East Bay, and of course Oracle Park, the rooftop at Via is truly one of the most unique event venues in San Francisco.
Giants fans. First pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the sports leader.
And welcome back to Giants warm-up. It's Anthony Garcia, a.k.a. Sports Anthony, on the sports leader, getting you ready for Giants and River Cats, the first of 3 exhibition games that the Giants will play before opening night on Wednesday against the Yankees at Oracle Park there in Sacramento tonight. And then tomorrow and Tuesday, baseball is back at Oracle Park. The Giants play in Monterey of the Mexican Baseball League. Come on out to the yard. You want to come see the Giants before opening night? Come on down to 24 Willie Mays Plaza, the best address in all of baseball. Joined right now by a very, very special guest. He is the Giants beat writer from the San Jose Mercury News. He is marinating carne asada as we speak. And the thing that I enjoy about him when I see him in the press box is I think he needs ID because he looks like he's 12 years old. Give it up for Justice De Los Santos.
Anthony, my man, I appreciate it. I thought the mustache would help me out a little bit, but it's Asian don't raisin, you know what I'm saying? Hey, before we get into some Giants baseball, I got 2 music takes to fire at you because I know you opened it up with T-Pain. I got 2 music takes.
And then MF Doom, and then I know you noticed MF Doom when we got into this block. Okay,
that's the first one. When you spell the man's name, all caps
when you spell the man's name, Justice.
But T-Pain, this is the man. Put him in whatever Hall of Fame you need to put him in. This is the man that rhymed the words mansion and Wisconsin. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
You know what?
All-timer.
1,000% agree. Shakespeare couldn't have done that. The Bard, one of the greatest writers of recorded history. Shakespeare wasn't rhyming mansion in Wisconsin. I agree 1,000%. And I can't wait, Justice, to get more of your music takes throughout the season at Oracle Park.
We will have plenty of them. I promise you, we will have plenty of them.
It's good to talk to you, Justice. Fan of your writing, fan of your Twitter page. But I really appreciate what you do and what all beat writers do. You guys follow this team in and out. I don't think people understand. This is your life for 6 months. This is all you're doing. And I had a beat writer tell me once, and they told me that they were getting some flack on Twitter for being too much of a homer and too much of a shill. And then when the team was losing, they were too negative. And this beat writer told me, and I don't want to name them, but they said that they didn't necessarily care if the team was good or bad. The thing that they cared about was that the team was interesting. Because as beat writers, you guys are essentially storytellers, and you're telling the story of the team every day for 6 months. So, Justice, as a beat writer, having said that, what are you, Justice De Los Santos, most excited about or most interested in? What are you most interested in for this 2026 Giants season?
I know in the lead-up you were talking about Rafi Devers, and obviously this is the first guy since Bonds where you go into a season and you're like, hey, he's probably going to hit 30 homers. And for a franchise that hasn't had a 30-homer guy since Bonds in 2004, and obviously Willie Adames broke that streak last year, that's exciting. But, the thing that I'm most intrigued by, there's just not too many times, as a beat reporter, even as a fan of the game, where you have the privilege of viewing something on a day-to-day basis that is truly unprecedented, groundbreaking, paradigm-shifting, whatever you want to call it. And obviously, I'm talking about Tony Vitello. This is the first man to go straight from college to the pros. And what I mean by that is we've obviously had major league managers who managed or coached in college. Pat Murphy currently, he was a coach in college, but we've never seen someone. And I think we need to really nail this point down because I think we've gotten so we're so in this bubble. I think it's just worth mentioning, this has never been done before.
Absolutely.
This is truly an experiment. This is truly an experiment. There is no precedent for what is being done. And more than any other managerial choice that the Giants could have taken, aside from Buster just deciding to do the job himself, probably, this is the most intriguing outcome. And we've already seen, over the 5 months that he has been the manager, there have been a lot to kind of talk about in regards to him. Obviously, we had, the incident about a week and a half. Incident's a strong word, but kind of a little snafu, whatever you want to call it.
It was a goings on. It was a goings on. It was a thing that happened.
Yeah, and it did for, fairly or unfairly start. It made people kind of question where his alliances lie. And again, fair or unfair, but it was a very intriguing.
Yeah.
This is like not something that you see. Like Bob Melvin wasn't doing this, Gabe Kapler wasn't doing this, Bruce Bochy wasn't doing this. So there are too many opportunities where you have an opportunity to cover something that is truly unprecedented. And just as a writer, as a beat reporter, just the past couple of weeks of spring have been very fascinating. Pretty much since he got hired, it's been very fascinating. And I'm excited to see how it goes, because regardless if he wins, if he loses, this isn't just going to be a story in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
This is going to be a story in the baseball industry as a whole.
Yeah, he's the first guy off the ship onto the beach. He's the first monkey into space. We'll see how it goes. I'm a big proponent of, if you can win games, you can win games. And Tony has won them in Tennessee. He was a national champion over on Rocky Top. So I know it's a thing, and people are maybe using it as a negative. I don't, and I'm with you. I'm going to let it play out, guy. I'm interested to see what happens. Justice, you wrote an article today on Bryce Eldridge. I think that was the big story coming into Giant spring training, is what's going to happen with Bryce, the 6'7". I'm doing the gesture. I don't know if you can, the people on YouTube can see he's 6'7".
I surmised it.
he hits the cover off the ball. The big question was he going to make the team? We got our answer on Thursday, option down to AAA. I don't want to make you a prognosticator. I don't want to make you a fortune teller. I'm not going to say when or if Bryce Eldridge, when is he going to come up? Is he going to come up? But I'm going to ask you this. What are the circumstances that would lead to Bryce Eldridge getting called up to the bigs in 2026?
Yeah, I wish I could just say, like, oh, yeah, May, whatever, like Bryce Eldridge is going to be on the team. And honestly, like, I think the Giants front office, like, wishes they had an answer too. But I think it's going to be really just contingent on him continuing to grow just a little more before the Giants team is ready to play every single day at the major league level. And I've made this point a couple times, and I'll continue to make it here. Bryce Eldridge just has not had a lot of reps above high A. I think it's about 500 plate appearances above high A, so that being AA and AAA. In AAA specifically, it's 321 plate appearances. And I know you were kind of ragging on advanced metrics, but I'm going to throw one it's easy to comprehend. It's easy to comprehend, I promise you. It's called weighted runs created plus, and that accounts for run environment and ballpark and era. Like, it's basically like, are you hitting an Oracle or are you hitting at Great American Ballpark? And they do this in the minors too. And when you add up all of Bryce's plate appearances, all of his offensive production in AAA in both 24 and 25, he is exactly been 1% better than a league average hitter. Okay. So when you see that 800 OPS, you think, 800 OPS and whatever many homers, like the ball flies in the Pacific Coast League. So they're going to need to see a little more offensive production from him, a little more consistency. Frankly, they're going to need him to cut down on the strikeouts, some of the swing and miss. That'll always kind of be part of his game, but it's just about neutralizing it enough to where his power is going to play, because we've seen the power in spurts, and there's not a lot of guys that can hit the baseball like he has. I think I had a quote in the story about Hunter Mentz. Like, usually when you see someone who is his height, they're usually pitching. And he has made strides on the defensive end of the ball. Obviously, out of high school, he didn't have a position. There was the right field experiment. So this is only entering year 3 of him playing first base. He had his moments. But the one thing is that if he started the team, or if he started on opening day, he wasn't going to have the opportunity to get first base reps because they have Rafael Devers there. And obviously, like, do you want, Bryce Eldridge automatically thrown into the DH spot as a 21-year-old? So, I wasn't surprised by the decision. I think the decision was made in, both the best interest of the Giants, the best interest of Bryce Eldridge. And if you take a really macroscopic view of this, in order for the Giants to be competitive both this year and the next couple of years, like, they are going to need Bryce Eldridge to become the player they say they believe can he become. And as much fun as it would be for him to be on the third base line on opening night, Aaron Judge, Bonds as a desk analyst, all the kayaks waiting for a Bryce Eldridge ball. Like, I get that. It would be so much fun like that. Like, even as a reporter, like, I could tell you that would be so much fun. It would be very exciting. But as fun as that would be, the Giants obviously have to take the long-term view of this, and as much as it's not as fun, it is in the best interest of Eldridge, and it is the best interest of the Giants for him to start in AAA.
Thank you, Justice. It's in the best interest of both Eldridge and the Giants. I was talking to one of my friends about this earlier, though. Well, what's going on with Eldridge? And I think with sports fans, sometimes they're just not satisfied and they're not content, and I feel like the answer is obvious. And it's not complex. It's really simple. And sometimes sports fans just can't comprehend a simple answer. He strikes out a lot, and they want him to get better. They want him to get better at first base, and he can't do that at the major league level because Rafael Devers is going to be the starting everyday first baseman, right? It's as simple as that, right? 1 + 1 = 2.
I would say so for the most part.
Okay.
And, maybe down the line, if 3 years from now, because obviously Bryce is 8 years younger than Devers. I think they almost have the same birthday. It's late October. So, if you want to talk about 3 years from now, and I'm going to evoke the Yogi Berra quote, predictions are hard, especially about the future. But if you want to, say 3 years from now that they're both still on the team, because, again, we know what's going to happen in 3 years, but if they're still on the team on 3 years, I can envision a scenario where Devers is more the DH. And
Exactly.
Elvis is more the first baseman. That's not hard to envision. But as this team is currently constructed, Devers, he says he likes playing in the field. He's kind of shown his own flashes at first base. So why not let it? This is the guy. And quite frankly, I think it's also noted that not only are you going to prioritize a 3-time All-Star, but you're also going to prioritize a guy that's making, a 9-figure contract.
A lot of money. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's also worth just mentioning that point as well. But, there's nothing wrong with, however this first season goes, whenever he makes his debut, they're going to have to figure that dynamic out. But one thing that Devers said is, I believe in the talent. I'm paraphrasing here, but he believes in the talent. He thinks that Eldridge can play in this league for 20 years.
Yeah. Well,
so if that's the case, then what's a couple more months?
Exactly. Hopefully that is the case. And I would just like to say something. I'm not a Sabre hater. I don't hate on sabermetrics. I don't.
I wasn't saying you were.
I don't hate analytics.
That's me. That's all me.
Here's my thing about the Sabre numbers. It's all hypothetical. It's, if this person played on the moon and the pitcher had a last name that started with the vowel when the temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, then he hits. I don't care. I want it concrete. Give me concrete what actually happens, not what would happen if he played on planet Fallujah. Like what's happening in real life on planet Earth that I can look at these numbers and say, he hits this many home runs. Not he would hit X amount of home runs if he played on Neptune. Like I don't care about that. So I'm not anti-Sabre, but it's rooted in hypotheticals, and I'm sorry, I live in the real world. Shocker, I know.
Well, I will say that WRC Plus, that is rooted in what happened. Like that is just a straight up what happened stat. And to give you one on Devers just for fun, because again, this is a very educational moment we got right here.
It is.
Is last year, in the same way that Rafi Devers hit 35 homers and had 109 RBIs, he also had a 135 WRC Plus, and all that means you just subtract from 100. That means he was 35% better than a league average hitter.
I like it very much. I just learned the Pythagorean theorem 2 years ago. So the less equations we have in baseball, the better. His name is Justice De Los Santos. He's the beat writer for the San Jose Mercury News. Justice, appreciate you coming in. You're welcome anytime. And just remember all caps when you spell the name.
Yes, sir. Got to get back to this carne asada. Appreciate you, Anthony.
Have
as
fun.
Always.
Enjoy, Justice. I'll see you at the yard. That's your Justice. Coming up next, you guys ask me questions about the Giants, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. It goes down in the DMs next. It's Giants warm-up with Anthony Garcia, a.k.a. Sports Anthony, on the Sports Leader.
KNBR, the Sports Leader. Our KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
I don't know how much history is left to be made here on the sports leader. I don't know if I'm going to be the first to do many things, but I hope and I think I'm the first person to ever have Yo Gotti coming into a show. Raph, you've been here a minute. Can you confirm that?
I've never heard Yo Gotti.
We have made
before,
history
so
today.
You're number one.
A historic day on the sports leader. Getting you ready. Giants, River Cats in Sacramento. First pitch at 5:07 p.m. I'm taking you to 4:50 p.m. That's Pacific time, of course. Dave Fleming and FP Santangelo on the call. There's a reason why I'm playing Yo Gotti. Because it is going down in the DMs. Giants fans, you guys message me. You ask me questions. So today, I'm going to do my best to answer them. Question number one comes from a gentleman. His name is Teddy Ballgame. And Teddy Ballgame, I don't think it's the actual Ted Williams because the Splendid Splinter is deceased, or at least he is the last time I checked. Teddy Ballgame asks, can the Giants survive this month? That is an excellent question, Theodore. Here's the first month for the Giants. I don't know if you looked at it. It's tough. So we start with the Yankees. That starts on Wednesday. At San Diego, both of those two teams made the playoffs. Then you get a 7-game homestand, the Mets and the Phillies. The Phillies won the NL East last year. The Mets had that collapse late season, but they signed a bunch of players, Bo Bichette, Marcus Semien, Luis Robert. Then you've got the O's, Reds, and Nats. Cincy made the playoffs last year. O's and Nats both finished in last place, but those games are on the road. Then you go Dodgers, the defending World Series champions. You got the Marlins, who finished sub 500, and the Phillies. So you get the Phillies twice in April. That's a tough stretch. That's tough sledding. That's going to be a difficult road to hoe for the San Francisco Giants in this first month plus of the season. So I think can they survive it? That's a really, really good question. Can the Giants tread water? I don't need them to be Michael Phelps. I don't need them to be doing the condor stretch, racing down the pool. I don't need them to break records. Can you tread water? Can you doggy paddle? Let's get out of April. Let's be close to 500. Ideally, you'd like to be over a game or two, but that's a great question, Teddy Ballgame. Can the Giants survive April? Tough slate. It starts Wednesday night with the New York Yankees, who are just 2 years away from winning the American League. Byron Chang asks, and this is really the question. This is the question. What will be a successful season for the Giants? Is it playoffs or bust? That is an excellent question. Byron Chang from the Sunset or the Richmond, somewhere on that part of the city. I don't think it's playoffs or bust. We had Rick from Hayward called, and he said that he thinks there's 6 or 7 teams better, or at least rosters better, than the San Francisco Giants. If you just look at who made the playoffs last year, I think everyone's probably going to be in the mix again. The Dodgers and Padres have been the top 2 teams in the NL West the last couple of seasons. That's 2. Remember, 6 teams make the playoffs. In the Central, you got the Brewers, who were the 1 seed last year in the National League. They won the Central. You figure the Cubs will be back in the mix. The Cubs and the Reds both made the playoffs last year. The NL Central had 3 playoff teams. So 2 and 3, that's 5. And then you got the Phillies, who won the NL East. That's 6. You think the Mets will be in the mix? That's 7. Atlanta had a down year last year. They're probably going to be in contention again. That's 8. That's before you even get to the Giants. So is it playoffs or bust? I think it's going to be very difficult for the Giants to make the playoffs. You never know. I mean, no one thought the Giants were going to make the playoffs in 2021 when they had that magical 107-win season. You don't know. You don't know trades. You don't know injuries. I don't think it's playoffs or bust. I think it's fair to say that Giants fans want improvement. Giants fans haven't finished over 500, haven't made the playoffs since the same time, that magical 2021 season, that cosmic 2021 season when everything went right in 2021. So for me, it's not playoffs or bust. And I know what you're going to say, Anthony, you work for the team. You're a homer. That's exact in that voice. They do it in that voice, Raph. But what do I always say? I'm not a homer. I'm an optimist. So for me, it's not playoffs or bust. But I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to go over 500. That's just my opinion. And I mentioned that in the A block. They're going to have a full season of Rafael Devers. Giants River Cats tonight, the first of 3 exhibition games. And if you want to see the Giants, you can't make it out to opening night on Wednesday. You can't make it to opening day on Friday. Come tomorrow, come Tuesday. Come see the yard. Come take your pictures. Put it on Instagram. Put it on social media. Come watch the Orange and Black. Tomorrow and Tuesday, 2 exhibition games against Monterey from the Mexican Baseball League before it starts for real Wednesday night, live around the world on Netflix. I think my dad is watching right now. So I'm going to tell Pop right now, the game's on Netflix. For the Boomers, Game 1 is on Netflix. It's not going to be on NBC Sports Bay Area. Tell everyone you know. The game is on Netflix. Don't turn into the Peacock and where's the game? It's on Netflix. Make sure Wednesday you're on Netflix. And I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to give away the secrets, what's going to happen Wednesday and what's going to happen Friday. But if you're coming to the yard and you're coming from Game 1 and Game 2, especially Wednesday night, it's not just the first game of the 162-game Giants slate. It's of the whole season. The season starts with the Giants on Wednesday. And I'm going to give you a pro tip. As someone who works in the Giants Vision in-game entertainment department, come early. If you're coming Wednesday and if you're coming Friday, get there early. First pitch, 5 o'clock on Wednesday, p.m. Friday, 1:30 p.m. Come early. The whole point of opening night and opening day is the pageantry and the accoutrement and the sauce and the trimmings and everything we get to put on top of it. Come early. We're going to have fun. I say it all the time. I don't say it because I work there. I say it because it's true. Nobody in professional sports throws a party like the San Francisco Giants, and the party starts on Wednesday. Giants River Cats coming up right now. See you at the Yard this week. Baseball is upon us, and don't forget, put Barry in the Hall of Fame.